guys, it's Justin. It's true. It really is me. This is one of the most important things that I will ever share with you. This really rocked my world. This was so exciting. So, as you guys know, I read a whole lot, and again, I'm a Christian, as you guys already know, but I was seeing if what was being taught in these books had a common thread together. And I believe that you can always find something in the Bible that confirms these things. And so when I was looking at it a little bit deeper, I looked at it, and the very beginning was actually this gardening. That's a universal thing that everyone knows about, and how important that actually is, and how we've all lived off of botany, right? And then I began to look at the principles that were being taught in these self-help books and things like that. I was like, wait a minute, there is a connection between gardening and everything that we need to know in terms of anything that we need to work, any business to succeed, any job to succeed, any degree to succeed. Anything that you need to succeed falls into these principles. So I'm really excited. Let me go ahead and just jump right into it. Okay, so you have, this is what I'm calling the framework right here, right? So framework. So you have your seed, which is going to be the thing you start with, obviously, right? Then you have your soil, and you can't just put any old seed into any old soil, right? So you need to have specific things that are going to help this mature, right? So you need to go ahead and put it into the right kind of environment, right kind of soil, in order for it to actually grow. But it doesn't stop there. You need to have some cultivation. So the seed needs a specific kind of care, a specific kind of watering, a specific kind of sunlight, a specific kind of covering, very, very specific things in order for it to actually begin to grow. So you can't just have a seed and put it into the right environment and expect it to grow properly. You need some specific conditions habitually in order for it to actually mature and to grow the way it needs to grow. Which leads us to the right point, which is going to be the maturity, right? So maturity, that is going to be the final step of it. So once it matures, it drops its fruit, and then inside that fruit is another seed, and then it repeats the process, and then you have an entire garden or forest or whatever it is that you're looking at. So that's really, really cool, right? And that's how things have always worked. That's how botany works. Now then, let's take another look at this though. So what if that's how everything else works in terms of success that you're trying to find? So let's go ahead and dive into this a little bit deeper, right? The seed's the vision. Your seed is your vision. Your soil is your environment. The cultivation are the habits. And the maturity is the duplication. So what do I mean by that? So the seed is your vision. You've got to have a vision. And these all must work in tandem with each other. Otherwise, the thing that you're looking at to grow is not going to grow. Period. So let's say you have your vision, right? You gotta have a vision. You gotta have a seed to start with. Then that vision needs to be in the right environment. And then from there, that seed needs to have some cultivation, some daily habits. And then from there, it needs to be replicatable, duplicatable. Okay, let me go into this a little bit deeper. So let's say, for example, that you have a vision, or maybe you don't even have a vision, all right? Let's say you don't have a vision. That means you're just wondering what in the world to do. You're just watering weeds at this point in time. You're just kind of, I don't know what I want to do. I don't know what to be done. So you're just watering weeds. And weeds can pretty much grow all by themselves. They don't need any help. Right? Distractions is what those are called. Weeds are distractions. They just kind of grow, but you don't really have a clear seed or vision that you're actually trying to take care of. So you just kind of wander around. Right? Okay. Now let's say, for example, that you have a vision. So let's say you have a vision to become a doctor. Have a vision to become a doctor. Okay, great. Now then, what if you're not in the right environment? Okay, what if you're not in the right environment? Now, let's say that you have some buddies of yours and they are all lawyers. None of them are doctors. But you spend all your time with the lawyers. Guess what you're not going to be, most likely? Guess where your focus, your vision is not going to be likely? It's not going to be a doctor. Does it mean that the lawyers are bad people? No. Someone argued that they are, but I'm going to leave that alone. But it doesn't mean that they're bad people. It just means that they're lawyers. So, why are you trying to become a doctor by hanging around lawyers? Doesn't work that way. Why? Because nature doesn't work that way either. That seed needs to be in the right environment. So, if you want to become a doctor, you hang around other doctors. Why? Because you see and imitate what it is that's around you, that you're surrounded by. That becomes the normal thing. So, lawyer normatives become prevalent when you're around a bunch of lawyers. But doctors, their normative behavior becomes your behavior because you're surrounded by them all the time. You are what you surround yourself with. Okay, so then, let's go on to the next thing. Let's say that, okay, I have the vision, I have the environment, but I don't quite have the cultivation, the habits. So let's say that, again, trying to be a doctor, and you're in the right environment, you're around all these doctors and everything, but you're not actually doing anything in terms of study. You're not studying the medicine, you're not reading anything about the medicine, you're not in the lab, you're doing nothing but hanging around a bunch of doctors. Now, just like the seed needs to be cared for, and it doesn't care whether or not you're having a bad day. It doesn't care about tragedies. It doesn't care about whether or not your parents are dead or whatever it is. And that sounds harsh, but the seed just doesn't care. The seed only cares about one thing, and that, did you water me today? Did you prune me today? Did you give me the proper sunlight today? Did you put in some sort of a habit today? And depending on what kind of seed that it is, it becomes more demanding or less demanding. But you've got to be putting in some work in order to take care of that seed. Otherwise, it's not going to make it. Right? It's not going to make. So, you have to become someone who is a cultivator, someone who is doing daily habits and is not drifting from that. And again, the daily habits can be something like watering. Okay, you don't want to drown the thing, so you don't just sit there and water every single day, but you might need to give it a little more sunlight. It needs specific things. So you're not reading maybe all the time, you're not in the lab all the time, but you're doing a little something to take care of it every single day. Okay? Now then, last thing. Now this is what I think is really, really special, and this is something that I think that people really, really sleep on. That's maturity right here. Maturity is duplication. Now, again, I know that not everyone listening to me is a Christian. I understand that. But even in my faith, Jesus himself, who had the extraordinary claim of being God himself, right? The image of God, said that it's better that I leave so that the Comforter would come. He's talking about the Holy Spirit. He was saying that, and made analogies saying that it's better that when the seed dies in the ground, it produces more of its kind. He was basically saying that rather than just me being here one point in time, how about my message, my gospel, who I am, my spirit goes out amongst the nations, so not just one shot wonder one time. What if I duplicated myself? And just like when the seed drops, it produces more of its kind and it becomes a forest eventually. So that means this. The truth and the way to abundance is actually by making sure it's not about you. You have to make sure it's not about you. You have to duplicate and serve and teach and mentor these things, these philosophies, disciple with people so that the things that you know, because now that you're mature, you can now begin to give these messages to other people. You can just begin to flow with other people. You begin to just give away for other people. and it prospers everyone. Now, what if you gave information that was capable of embettering people's lives? Don't you think that they would give you more opportunity as your life continues? Don't you think that they would give you opportunity to your family, to your nieces, to your nephews? Don't you think that they would be an abundance of opportunity when you begin to duplicate and give the information or the teaching or the love or the whatever it is to other people? That's maturity. When you know it's not about you anymore, that's actual maturity. And so the thing is that without these flowing together, you don't have true success. Because even with the maturity part, it's only going to be a matter of time before we have to keep on putting in the same work over and over again. The maturity, the duplication, is how you have more of an abundant and passive kind of income, passive kind of care, passive kind of ministry, passive kind of whatever it may be. So you need all of these things working together in order to have true success. The success that you're looking for is right here. So I've had people to where I shared this with them. They're kind of like, oh my God, I can tell where I've been messing up. I've been messing up on step 2. Or I've been messing up on step 3. Or I haven't defined my vision, so I've been messing up on step 1. And when they corrected those things, their lives begin to change. Their lives begin to change. I can say that even for myself too. So this is not about this is not about success the way that, make a bunch of money, things like that. We're not talking about that. We're talking about success as in the seed that you put into the ground. Is that growing or not? Whatever seed that it is, doesn't matter. Are you putting in those things within the framework to make it work? Because here's the crazy thing, everything works this way. It's so cool how every part of this actually works, right? Everything in the universe works this way. It's really, really awesome. So therefore, we know for a fact that this will work if you apply it to whatever it is that you're trying to apply it to. Now, there's some other details in there that I'd love to share with you more. So I'm more than happy to come and speak at your church, at your school, online, whatever. Doesn't really matter. But trying these principles will really make a huge impact, and I'd love to hear from you. I would love to get some details about what it is that you're doing and maybe put together a little bit of a game plan, because there's little things in there too that you can begin to understand on the very, very nuanced level. But I would love to share these things with you, love to share those with you in person or online or whatever. So you can get in touch with me through any of the contact information, whether it be on a DM, IG, or on Facebook, or just good old-fashioned email, whatever it may be. But I'm so excited about this because when I found this out, I was like, oh wow, it's just looking at nature a lot of times solves the problems. So I always call nature God's referee, so it's like he doesn't have to do a whole lot because, a lot of it's in the framework of what it is that he's created. Again, you don't have to believe that in terms of creation, but nature, I would say it qualifies certain things, and disqualifies other things. Please go ahead and hit me up. I'd love to know if this is working for you. I'm sure that it is. And just leave some comments below as well. But God bless you guys, and I'll catch you guys in Remix. Bye bye.